Welcome everyone to Bharat CXO. Myself Kaumadi Vaidya. We have with us Mr. Kamlesh Kumar with us right now. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. So, Mr. Kamlesh is Vice President of Supply Chain at Jumbotail, where he leads a 6,000 plus member team transforming India's food and grocery ecosystem through tech and data. And I am Calcutta Gold Medalist and one of the India's top 40 supply chain leaders. Kamlesh has held leadership roles at Swiggy, Navi, Flipkart, and Caterpillar, driving large scale operations, growth, and customer experience. It's so nice to know about you, sir.
Thank you. Thanks for the intro.
You're welcome. So we will just start with our interview on AI. So firstly, I would like to ask you, what is your opinion on AI?
Yeah, a couple of years ago, I think it was a buzzword, but now it's a reality, right? And the way I look at it, look, it's a technology, right? And that means it is there to help us be more efficient, uh, get better in terms of decision making. Uh, Also, it helps build the intelligence in the different layers. Specifically, if I talk in the context of supply chain, right? Uh, you know, throughout the hierarchy, if you look at even our blue collar workforce at the ground, basically AI helps us build and pass on that intelligence, which is helpful for these people to act on and act smartly. So, and apart from that, if you look at specific to supply chain context, if I have to talk, right, it actually helps or drive efficiency at various fronts. Even you driving productivity, a better route management, customer communications, inventory management. You talk about forecasting, right? All of these places, when it was done manually or through some tech, there were inefficiencies which was lying into the processes. And as the companies are adopting to these new AI tools, right, it is getting smarter and smarter, and definitely that is bringing the goodness to the even the bottom line and the P&L as well.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely. Next, I would like to ask you, what role do you think AI will play in your industry in the next few years?
So, as I told you, right, in the context of supply chain, if you think of, right, so couple of things, like for example, as I told you, it will get better in terms of how things are handled. Let's say in terms of you talk about inventory management or the forecasting, understanding the various factor which has impact on demand and in turn impact on the kind of inventory we hold. Apart from that, if you look at, there are a couple of unique things which I see in this industry. So let's understand the problems of this industry. One larger problem specific to e-commerce domain, if I talk about, is handling this blue collar workforce at scale, right? And that too, a lot of these workforce are the migrated workforce. Let's say from a different state, they have come to a very different state where language is different, the environments are different, things are different. At that point of time, in future, the way I look at that, AI can help basically these people in migration in terms of, let's say, uh, converting the language and helping them speak the kind of language which they, so that they are able to communicate. A lot of problem is, let's say today when we put these migrated delivery heroes, right, speaking with the customers, they face challenges like the native language and all of that. So a way where there is a platform where they can exchange that, and they are able to understand each other's language, maybe through the intelligence systems, etc. I think that is one game changing thing which can happen into this industry, as far as I look at from the future standpoint, right? Second, if you think about drone deliveries, people are talking about, because a lot of places we see that uh, people are struggling getting the sort of resources to scale the business. So drone delivery, AI driven drone deliveries might be a reality in future. I mean, many companies I know have already started trying this out, right? While there are other constraints from the regulatory standpoint and all that, but I'm sure as we scale up, a lot of these problems can be solved um, in the future, right? And third thing which I'm able to think about is the building intelligence point which I talked about, right? Like if you understand today, there are, let's say there's senior leadership, there's middle management, and then there are people who are executing things on ground. A lot of dependency today is there on, let's say, middle management in terms of driving those changes, and and bringing those intelligence. Now if the machines can do that task, where they are able to give instructions, let's say even directly to the, say, our blue collar workforce, and smart decisions and smart directions are being given to these people, and if they are able to execute that, imagine the kind of efficiency which will unlock, and the bureaucracy which, let's say, exists in the organization, right, that also can be overcome, and the execution will be faster. Things can be changed faster because now the direct output or the direct direction is going to the people who is executing on the ground, right? And if it is getting done, then the change at which the organization can drive changes in their processes, in their systems, I think will be pretty fast.
Absolutely, sir. What a broad perspective of the future and on AI. So nextly, I would like to ask you, what do you think AI creates more jobs or does it take away from like in your industry, and why is it so?
Yeah, I think this is a common debate in the industry, right? That as AI will come, it will eat everybody's job. So, okay, let me talk in again in the context of supply chain industry, I would say, right? So, if you understand the fundamental of supply chain, what it says is that there are three things which flows in supply chain. One is the material which flows, information flows, and then cash flows, right? These are the three flows basically which happens throughout the chain, in supply chain. Now, if you think of, and let's ask this question in this framework, can AI move materials? Probably not. Human will be required to, let's say, move, right? Can AI move cash? Probably not, right? Then what can it do? What will it change in the industry? If you look at in these three fundamentals, the information flow, which is one of the largest or one of the biggest problem which exists in the supply chain layers, right? Because you have, if you think of end to end, there are multiple vendors you work with, there are many customers you work with, there are many internal team and stakeholders you work with, right? So in this layer, there are many stakeholders in this entire chain, and then information flow becomes a very crucial requirement. And the way I look at any job, so what AI will typically do is it will help improve that information and communication flow in the layer, right? So answering to your question, to blue collar workforce, will there be any impact until we move into the direction of automation? I don't see anything happening there. But if you talk about again the managerial layer, right? So in managerial layer in every organization, you see there are two kind of people. One is the people who are building capabilities, and there are people who are there for the monetary layer, like whose job is to keep monitoring, right? Just look at the performance and guide them and stuff like that. That monitoring, if somebody in the org is just doing the monitoring layer, is a layer which I might see that it will be in danger in future, because AI is a good monetary layer, and it can, as I told you, it can pass on the directions to the team directly, and probably a very smart data backed decision making can be directly given into the hand of executor. In that case, if somebody who is just doing the monitoring probably is at risk. Otherwise, the way I look at it, the more you become efficient, right? Probably if business drives profitability, and then if business grows, I think it creates more job than it takes away the job. That's my take.
Wow, wow. What a broad perspective. It was very good. Next, I would like to ask you, how is AI changing customer experience in your field?
Yeah. So look, I think this is a time in India where every company is realizing this, that customers are becoming demanding more than ever, probably, right? Uh, uh, you do one mistake and you are all over the social media, and so see, in this world, largest unlock which AI can do basically is in the field of customer experience, right? Because customers, if you think of what they want, right? Let's ask this question. As a consumer, what we expect? We expect that if things are not delivered on time, first of all, deliver it in full on time. That's a basic expectation. Now speed is another parameter which is defining the industry, and we see a lot of quick commerce companies solving for that, right? But one thing which is the fundamental ask which every customer has is that please communicate to me on a real time basis if there is any delay. Don't make me wait for without any information, and I'm just keep waiting that my order is going to come, not going to come, or what is going to happen, right? So as you look at AI driven tools can help us build end to end visibility, at the same time a real time communication to the customer, right, is going to be one of the biggest unlock. Second, so I'll just give you an example in the similar domain, right? Is, let's say, if one vehicle, in supply chain context, if I talk about, one vehicle is carrying 40 customers order, okay, and for some reason one or two customers has taken more time than what was required, or let's say there's some in some particular area there's some disturbance because of xyz reasons, right? Today what happens is, if there's a routing which is already defined and there's a sequence of delivery which is defined, right, the person follows that sequence, or it is totally manual. It is based on that delivery partner, that how he wants to define his route thereafter, and he uses his intelligence and he goes about it, right? Then informing that to all the relevant stakeholders, and in turn sending the communication to the customer, has some lag, and there's some inefficiency. If you think of the routings, the real-time routings using AI sort of intelligence, where the moment something like that happens, you give an input to the system, and system read out the entire thing, right, and trigger the at the same time trigger the communication within no time to all the relevant customers, is a great customer experience which we can drive, right? And that is the demand of customers today, because if you don't inform them, time is money, and you can't just kill the time of the customer and asking them to sit and wait and just contemplate when my order is going to come.
Yes, sir, absolutely. Moving forward, lastly, I would like to ask you by concluding this question, how important is teamwork between humans and AI in your industry? And can you support it with an example?
Sure. Look, so this is very important question, right? Because uh, if AI is going to be part of the day-to-day activity, you have to treat this as your one of the team member, right? Let's say imagine a world where AI was not existing. Some person, let's say if it is a design folks, or if it is from the managerial side, you are getting those instructions and you're working with that person basically to drive any project which you are driving in the org. Now there is one party which is probably physically not available, but is playing a bigger role and bigger part in the entire decision making and whatever we do. In that world, I'll give you a very simple example, right? That why is it important that we work as a team even in future with AI is, let's say in supply chain, one of the key problem is deciding where to place our facilities, right? Like, say for example, in a city, a quick commerce company is setting up a dark stores. So where it should be placed, there is a strategic location where it should be placed, right? So there are algorithms which says us that based on clustering of customers, where the facility should be placed. Now there is the machine will give you this output. After that, what used to happen, let's say if that output is that there's a lake there where it is suggesting you to take a facility, or there's a army area, let's say, right, you can't go and place your facilities there. These were all manual decisions earlier. Now that if system is able to understand this, it will start throwing you smart suggestions. That means, hey, look, as per the cluster, here it should be, but we understand that it's not practically feasible because of xyz reason, because system is intelligent now it is suggesting you some different place, right? It has suggested you different place. Now it has also thought about that what is the rental in that area. Is it a market area? Is it like a very important area in the city? Then the rent will be higher and all that consideration also it has done. But there are certain things, for example, there are legal litigations on the facility. There could be one possibility, right? So there are many factors which exist in supply chain, which there are many real-time factors which exist in supply chain, which human in turn has to come back and train your system, which is your that intelligence needs to be given back to the system so that next time when it suggests, it is better, right? So if you look at a lot of to and fro feedback is going to be very very important to for a faster decision making, smarter decision making, and for system to be smarter, right? And the last thing is when any output or any suggestion, or any decision which are made by the system, at the end of the day, execution of the project, let's say setting up that facility, negotiating the rent with the owner, hiring people and getting that started, installing your machines and infrastructure and everything for the business to start, that human has to do, right? So that's why I'm saying both has to work together. Imagine it's a team member who is not physically present but playing an active part in your entire work. So that's the way to look at it.
Absolutely, sir. The way you build your perspective on the opinion of AI and whether does it create jobs or it takes away, and or the relationship between human and AI. Every point was very very insightful. I hope the viewers must be getting a very good insight from this. Thank you so much for this.
Thank you.